Hello and welcome, follow subscribers and other racing fans. Sorry about that. We're here today for a DTM race I had yesterday with the guys from pcarsforum.de. It was a fun race with the AMG DTM car over the course of 26 laps at Barcelona. We jump right into it with the qualifying, which happened before the actual race. You currently see my fastest lap around the track. I have to say, I have to admit even, I wasn't that fast in this whole event. Maybe around 6/10 or 1 second off the pace, and in the race it was even 1.5 seconds maybe. Reason for that is partly due to my hate relationship with the track. As you could also see in the ESL tournament 1 or 2 weeks ago, I'm not even sure. It was a real struggle for me. This track doesn't like me and I do not like the track. However, I thought I liked the car, but turned out I also have difficulties with that after driving GT3 cars for the whole time, nothing else. I had problems with this car, no traction control, pretty problematic. When you are going on the curbs, sometimes get wheel spin, the car is oversteering a little bit, however it has so much grip that it quite immediately grips again, and then you have this effect like in motorcycling when the rear comes around, grips again, and you get this high sider. Just awful. Well, the fastest lap I drove you have already seen. I also cut it in this lap, which could have been the fastest lap, however I was held up a little bit on the last 2 corners of this lap, as you will see.
Würde echt gerne mal interessieren, welcher Honk die Schilder.
Erste Kurve, das ist echt scheiße.
My future teammate Chad Pistol and myself, we drove a 2.7, respectively 2.8 downforce, so being quite on the safe side with the downforce here. Now I have the problem with Puriana, my future team boss. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but things happen. Okay, the race begins. As we see the fastest lap times here, I managed to get the 4th best time. Maybe I could have the 3rd best time without the problem. So, race start. We'll leave you alone with that shortly.
Ah, shit, sorry.
As you can see, Kanuma in front of me. He didn't get going quite well, so I managed to overtake him off the grid. However, it didn't last too long, as you will see in the next corner. He's doing the right thing. He was very on the outside on the turn-in, so he could manage to get more momentum through the corner, and now we are side by side, and I didn't want to risk any collisions at this point of the race, so I let him pass. Well, not voluntarily, of course. He was already side by side, so I couldn't do anything about it. Well, at this point, I thought, okay, these three people, they are faster than me at this point, so just let them go. Maybe I had the thinking in the back of my head that they might crash. Sometimes when driving races, you're taking some risks by not taking risks. You think, well, let's just drive a little bit calmer and smoother and hope that the other people will not do the same and will crash in the end. So maybe this happens here too. You see, I'm laughing already. Now watch this. There was a collision with Jet Pistol and Heiko. Whoops, and Kanuma is laughing about that, and he spins while laughing about the crash between the other two guys. I won't comment on that. Also, Heiko, when getting back on the track, was hitting me slightly. It wasn't his fault, I have to say. I saw that coming and I wanted to avoid it, however I couldn't, as my car was understeering and oversteering at the same time. So I was getting a little bit to the outside of the corner and we collided just a little bit, but I don't think I got damage from that. However, I don't know, because I forgot to activate telemetry as well as my spotter app. Okay, now we have time to talk a little bit. Preparation time for this race was near 0%. Thing is, Jens, whose nickname is Furiana, who held me up in the qualifying, he told me about the race like 1.5 hours before it started, and I had something to do at this time, so I wanted to I wanted to join as soon as possible, but it was like half an hour of preparation time. I made a short cut, as you could see, to lap 8, because all the laps by now were the same. BK was following me, but now he's attempting to overtake. So this is getting interesting. He's side by side. I don't see where he is, but I assumed at this point he would try to overtake me. However, I saw in the rear view mirror he was getting back like 1 meter, and I immediately closed the line after that. Now I was a little bit pumped, adrenaline, but I kept calm this time. Unusual for me, I know. In ESL you could see that wasn't the case every time. Well, 140 lap times for me all race. You will see that. I mean, I started out with 139s, you see, until lap 6. But I couldn't keep this pace. I don't know why. Maybe it's the leading role is nothing for me really. I always get a little bit too conservative in this role. Well, now we see a problem BK has. You see in the rearview mirror. Yeah. There was a collision between him and Heiko. That's the same Heiko who was in front of us in the beginning. BK went a little bit wide at first and Heiko wanted to overtake him. They had a slight collision and this caused Atze to lose more ground than needed. Now Heiko had damage at this point. He had aerodynamic damage, so he told at least, and he was following me while being a little bit faster, I guess. He was driving with much less downforce, however. But because of the aerodynamic damage, he wasn't faster on this race than me. The thing driving with more downforce is it helps you. When the tires are degrading, when conditions are getting a little bit worse, more downforce help you to keep the car on track, which can be, the end of the day, the winning move. Don't want to say it was in this race. At least I don't want to say I planned that it would work like that, because of the preparation time being so tiny. However, it did. I was driving on the medium tire, not the soft compound, as Jet Pistol told me the soft compound was degrading quite rapidly after 10 laps, so medium compound it was. You could drive this tire for the whole race without any big disadvantages. There was no what did I want to say? If you have to do something, mandatory is the word. There was no mandatory pit stop, so it was the best thing to do to not go into the pits. You could have been pitting once with, well, 2 soft compounds, for example, in the 2 stints. That would have brought you 1 second at least per lap. However, if you see that, that's 26 seconds. Yeah, it's very close. You will probably lose more time during the pit stop. So, this strategy, we considered it, Chad Pistol and myself, we considered it, but no. We thought it wouldn't be worth it. Also, when going into the pits, you always have problems with overtaking other guys, because sometimes you end up behind guys who didn't pit in first place, and you have to overtake them again. Problematic. And problems is what I didn't want to have in this race. Fastest lap here. Why is that? Because I have someone behind me pushing, and of course led to myself pushing as well a little bit. However, Barcelona hard track to actually overtake. If it's not for the straights and with the same top speed, Heiko didn't have a chance to overtake me here. Well, now you will see something which is very problematic if you don't have much downforce on your car. Wait for it. Wait for it. And there he goes. Bam. I didn't speak to him about this incident. Maybe it was several reasons. He was quite far off the line on the green carpet, which is quite slippery. Also behind me, he might have caught some dirty air. All in all, for Heiko, that crash might not have been necessary. We made another jump, another cut. Why is that? Because really nothing happened in the meantime. There was Bill Tiss, who organized the race, I think, or co-organized He was behind me the whole time, like 12, 13 laps, with 5 seconds, 4 seconds gap. We had many guys to lap, so the gap sometimes increased and decreased a little bit. However, here in the last 2 laps, the gap decreased more and more. He was very fast in the last 2 laps. I'm pretty sure he was like, wow, only 2 laps left, and now he's pushing, you know. And I was like, oh, only 2 laps left, so maintain the gap and drive calmly to the end. So it happened that gap was smaller and smaller for the last 2 or 3 laps at least. So now 2 laps to go. You will see one last lapping maneuver. I don't know who he was. It was number 14 that I can see. So position 14, we lapped the half of the field. You can say it like this. One thing I didn't... Oh, and he's letting me by. Maybe a little bit unnecessary because he was still almost a second in front. Lapping should be not that much of a disadvantage for the one who has to be lapped. I always recommend to just stick with your line, and when the one behind you who wants to lap you sticks his nose into a corner or or changes line for overtaking on a straight, then you just go off throttle a little bit, so you make it easier to actually overtake.
Hey.
And that makes it easier for everyone. No dangerous or unforeseeable movements, yeah. As we are entering the last lap here, I wanted to tell you about DRS. As you see, I use it quite often on the bottom right corner. That's a problem, I think, in project cars. You don't have pre-designed DRS zones, so you can use it everywhere. First problem which is emerging from that is the crash potential. If you're opening the DRS too early, you will lose all your downforce on the rear, and this can cause rapid oversteering and crashing. Oh, I have to ask Heiko, maybe this was the reason as well for him crashing there. And the other thing is it destroys the race to a certain point. You know, you're concerned about clicking this button the whole time, and it's not really fun to do this. Sometimes you forget. And no, I'm not a fan of this feature. I hope in the future the host can deactivate it completely. We don't need it, I think. Or DRS zones, that it's only on the straights. That would be possible too. So, this race is already ending here, and yeah, I don't have much else to say. You can see the fastest laps in the race. Mine was pretty slow at 39.6. Others did 38, and Chat Whistle did even at 37. Oh. What else to say? Nothing, I guess. And see you next time. Bye bye.
My quarter-final against Ibi, the semi-final against USSR Alexer, and the great final against Kaki. As an extra, I also have the race for third place Alexer versus Papa and D for you. Enjoy!